Samanta Cakkavalesu Atra Gaccantu Devata Saddhammang Munirajassa Sunantu Sagga Mokkadam Dhammasavana Kalo Ayam Badanta Dhammasavana Kalo Ayam Badanta Dhammasavana Kalo Ayam Badanta Namo Tansa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tansa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tansa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Samma Ditting Pahang Bhikkhave Dvayang Vadami Atti Bhikkhave Samma Ditti Sāsavā puñña bhāgiyā upadive pakkā Atti bhikkhave sammā ditti Ariyā anāsavā lokuttarā maggangāti. Sadhu, sadhu. Dear Dhamma friends, now we are going to start our weekly Dhamma class. In this Dhamma class, we mostly discuss the main doctrines in Buddhism, which are very important to our day-to-day life when we practice Buddha's message. You know, according to Buddha's message, the knowledge is very important. When we practice Buddha's message, before we practice Buddha's message, we may have clear knowledge what Buddha said, what we practice, where we are going to, and also what are the results when we practice this message. Those things are very important. According to your opinion, what Buddha said, what Buddha explained to the world, what are his main doctrines that he explained to the world?
Four Noble Truths.
Four Noble Truths, yes,
and
very good.
The Eightfold Path.
Yeah. Yeah, any other thing?
The 10 Paramis.
10 Paramis, perceptions. Yeah. What is his goal? When we explain something to the world as his teachings, what was his main purpose, main goal?
Liberation from suffering.
Yeah, very good. Liberation from suffering. What is the nature of the suffering? Desire. Why do we have desire? Desire also has a cause or reason.
Grasping. Clinging.
Yeah, clinging and desire we can, I guess, in the same topic. Why we have clinging? What is the reason of clinging? For example, when we look at something, when we hear something, how we get experience through our senses. When we have some kind of experience, through our senses, we have some kind of desire or anger. Why do we have this kind of defilements, such as desire or anger?
Because of ignorance.
Ignorance. What is the nature of ignorance?
Misunderstanding the nature of reality.
What is the nature of reality in the world?
Is it emptiness?
Emptiness. Any other word that you like to say?
Change?
Change. Any other thing? Mr. Eric, I think you also can say.
Anicca?
Anicca. What is the nature of anicca? What is the meaning of anicca?
Like arising and passing away. Arising, passing away.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Is impermanence and changing is same or difference?
Impermanence and change.
Impermanence and changing.
It's pretty much the same. Yeah.
Same.
Well, maybe not exactly.
How would your idea, Mr. Eric? Changing and impermanence are same or difference?
Impermanence, as far as I understand right now, it ties in with dependent origination. There needs to be cause for something to happen and occur.
Yeah.
And then when that goes away, it also ceases. It's something to arise and cease at the same.
Good.
Whereas change is just.
Mr. David, your idea also are good, but we have some changes here. When we consider Buddha's message, especially when we consider his explaining about the impermanence, that is very important. Changing and impermanence, we mostly think both of them are together, both of them are same. Before the Lord Buddha did his renunciation, or when before he gave up his kingdom and his family, before his ordination, what did he see? He saw four things: a person who was old age, a dead body, and sick person, and a monk. He saw four things. Have you heard it before? Yeah. Sick person, dead body, old person, and also a monk, ascetic person. He understood the changing before his renunciation, great renunciation. As a layperson, as a prince, he understood the changing. But he didn't overcome suffering. In the current society, even scientists, they have understood the changing. But according to Buddhism, they have not discovered the impermanence. And changing, like this building can be destroyed, and our body is growing up, our body is going to old age, we are subject to die. These are the natures of the changing. Understanding of changing is easier than understanding of impermanence. After Buddha enlightened, he explained very clearly, I understood something I have never listened before. As soon as he enlightened, he explained to the world or monks, when he explained his first sermon to the five ascetic persons, Passaga Panchavaggiya Bhikkhu, this picture? Yeah. And this is his first sermon. When he explained this first sermon, he told them that, O bhikkhus, O monks, I understood something that I have never listened before. I have never understood before. Then we can get some idea. His previous experience, that old age, sickness and death, those of things that he understood before his renunciation, and he understood when he enlightened, are different. That is why he told to the world, I have analyzed, I have discovered something before I never understood. That is very important. When he enlightened, he understood the impermanence, not changing. Actually, changing also one kind of qualities of impermanence, but both of them are not completely same. Impermanence also we can say sometimes as changing. One of the qualities of impermanence is changing, but both of them are not completely same. That is very important. The reason is, Buddha said very clearly, if a person can understand impermanence or anicca, that person is clever to understand suffering too. Yada niccang tan dukkhaṃ. If something is impermanent, it is suffering. But scientists, they have understood changing, but they didn't understand the suffering. They could understand changing very clearly, dividing atoms according to, electron, proton, neutron. They divided atoms, and they realized, they understood the changing, but they were not able to understand suffering. But according to Buddhism, if we are clever to understand impermanence, we are qualified to understand suffering or unsatisfactoriness. And also, if we are clever to understand suffering or unsatisfactoriness or impermanence, we are ready to understand anatta, no soul, egolessness. Three of them are together. Anicca, impermanence; dukkha, suffering or unsatisfactoriness; anatta, no soul or egolessness. These three things are together. If somebody can understand one thing, he is ready to understand other two things. That is very important. This is the center of Buddhism. This is the center. This is the main doctrine in Buddhism. And if somebody is clever to understand these things, he is ready to go on the path. Until somebody understands this center in Buddhism, he is not ready to practice this path. Our path, we start our path after we understand this world reality. That is very important. Buddha said very clearly, whether a Buddha appeared or not in the world, this truth is forever. Whether a Buddha appeared or not in the world, this truth is ever. We say this is Buddhism because Buddha realized, because Buddha discovered this. Although he discovered this message, he didn't create this. He did create nothing. All things, Buddha said very clearly, all things are explained in previous Buddhas. But in this period, he is the first person who discovered this message, who discovered this reality by himself. That is why we respect him. That is why we pay our gratitude to them. But we have to know that Buddha was not a Buddhist. Even Sariputta, Moggallana were also not Buddhist. Buddhism or Buddhist originated later. But they were the person who understood the world reality. World reality. That is why Buddha said very clearly, this reality, these teachings don't belong to even me. It is not, it doesn't need to respect me. If you respect me, you try to understand this reality by practicing yourself. That is the thing. When we consider this message, actually, understanding of impermanence is very important. What is the impermanence that Buddha said? Again and again in this class we discuss it. That is very important. How we suffer? How do we get angry?
By reacting with aversion. Well, based on delusion that there is an I, that there is a self to react to.
Yeah, how do we explain this reality simply? For example, when we look at a person who has blamed me before, as soon as we look at that person, what happens to my mind?
Becomes agitated.
Yeah, we get angry. Because that person has blamed me before. As soon as I see that person, what happens to my mind? My mind is angry. Why do I get angry? As soon as I look at that person, I go to the real situation which happens in the past. But now I am living in the present moment. My mind suddenly went to the past. Then I have no awareness. I have no mindfulness that I am living in the present moment. Now I did only that. I read my mind. But suddenly, because of no awareness, because of no mindfulness, because of ignorance, my mind suddenly go to the past experience. I live in the past. I play that role again. That person has blamed me once. I am blamed several times by myself. What is the reason? That experience which happened in the past, it arised and ceased at that moment suddenly, instantly. But because of ignorance, I got that experience to the present. But the thing is that as soon as I look at that person, suddenly I go to the real situation. I went to the real situation. But sometimes that person has forgotten. And that person has no idea about that thing. But I am still thinking about that. I am living in the past. I didn't see the impermanence. If I saw the impermanence and also if I live in the present moment with mindfulness, I can remember that thing. My memory doesn't go away. I have full memory. But I don't run to the past. Because of full awareness, because of full mindfulness, I am living in the present moment. As soon as I look at that person, I know very well, now I read my mind. This experience arises this moment. Then I am living as a freshman. My memory is okay. I have a good memory, but I don't run to the past because I know very well the impermanence. Impermanence means, as you mentioned before, it is very clear that arising and ceasing. The experience arises and arising and ceasing at the moment very suddenly. It arises and ceases at the moment. But again, when we think about that, we think now my mind and mental formations together. If we have full awareness, we can overcome suffering. This understanding of impermanence depends on, as you mentioned, dependent origination. I think you have heard about dependent origination, cause and effect in Buddhism. That is the center in Buddhism. That is the identity of Buddhism. Nobody has explained. Everybody explained their doctrines, their teachings, their philosophies in the world, that as before we came to the world, it was a world in the world. After we will die, the world will be remained. Everybody explained this reality, but Buddhism is different. According to conventional truth, it is okay, it is true according to Buddhism too, but according to ultimate truth, in Buddhism, it is different. What Buddha said, before we came to the world, it was a world according to conventional truth, but according to ultimate truth, before we came to the world, it was no world. After we die, the world doesn't remain. The world, we create the world every moment. We create the world every present moment. When we look at this table, we have this experience. When we close our eyes, when we think about it, it is here. If we don't think about this, it is not in our world. We have only one experience once. We have only one sense one time. If we think something, only my mind and mental formations are together. When we look at something, only my eye and this form only here. If we hear something, this sound and my ears also hear. I have only one experience once. We have 6 senses. But one time, once we have one experience. When one sense acts, other 5 are dead.
No exceptions?
Nothing. Because of these senses are very fast. We think all of them are together because of ignorance. For example, when you have some light or something, when you round it very fast, you can see a circle. But is it a circle? No circle. Only one thing. Because of it is very fast, we can see a circle. Our experience also like that. These 6 senses act very fast. Therefore, we think all of 6 are acting together. But our mind is very fast. Our mind is very fast. Every moment, once we have only one experience. When we are going to understand this impermanence, we should be ready to understand this reality. And again we will discuss it. And however, when we discuss Buddha's message, the knowledge is very important. Buddha said very clearly, on the path of purification, knowledge is very, very important. Knowledge is the first qualification that we have. If we have no real knowledge or understanding what Buddha said, our path is not clear. Therefore, first of all, we may have clear knowledge. Knowledge can be divided into two. One thing is the knowledge of karmic law. Sammaditthi. Sammaditthi, I think you have heard about Sammaditthi. Sammaditthi means? Eightfold Path. The first thing is right understanding, right view. Right view can be divided into two. First step is the understanding of karmic law. What is the karmic law? Karmic law means if we do something with wicked mind, we will have the bad results because of polluted mind. If we do something with pure mind, we will have the good results because of pure mind. This is the first step of knowledge that Buddha explained. The second step is the knowledge is impermanence. It means it depends on dependent origination, arising and ceasing. Seeing the ceasing and arising depends on dependent origination. That is the identity of Buddhism. Therefore, we may have clear knowledge about the karmic law and the knowledge of impermanence when we practice this message. Although we have effort or courage, if we have no knowledge, our courage is useless. If you go to somewhere where you before didn't go, first of all, what should you have? You should have map. If you have no map or understanding where you are going to, although you have courage, although you drive fast, you can reach to the place, you can't. Therefore, the first thing is the map or road description. Therefore, the knowledge Buddha mentioned, that is very important, the knowledge. That is why Buddha said again and again, we have to listen to this message. And here, there are another four things that is very important. Buddha said very clearly, from beginning to end, on this path, we may have four things. What they are? First one is we may have a good friend who explains Buddha's real message. Associate in a good friend who explains the Buddha's real message. Associate in a good friend. What is the second one? Second one is listening to this message. Listening to this message. These both things we get from outside. When we are going to find these both things, we should have good qualities. And we also should be intelligent. If we have not good qualities, if we are not intelligent, even though we associate, even though we are living with good friends, it doesn't absorb to our life because we are empty. We have no qualifications, we have no qualities, we have no ability to understand that they are good friends. Therefore, we may also have some good qualities. Especially, we may have gratitude. You know gratitude? Buddha explained, it is very nice. Buddha said, all good qualities depends on gratitude. If you have no gratitude, you have nothing. All good qualities depends on gratitude. For example, if you wash your car, what quality that you have? Gratitude. If you wash your house, if you clean your house, what is your quality? Gratitude. If you do your job very well, gratitude. If you pay your respect to your parents, gratitude. If you pay our respect to the Buddha, gratitude. If we clean our body, gratitude. All things, all good qualities depends on gratitude. That is very important. These both things we should get from outside. Then we have to create another both things from our mind, from our spirit. What they are. Reflecting or wise investigation, yoniso manasikara. According to this message, we reflect on it again and again. Not only listening, but we have to reflect on it again and again through our life, according to our life. Reflecting on reflecting. That is the quality that we should develop in our life. And what is the next one, fourth one? Fourth one, practice. How do we practice it? Samatha, vipassana, concentration meditation and insight meditation. Samatha, vipassana.
What is samatha?
Samatha means concentration meditation. When we practice some kind of meditation techniques such as loving kindness, if we are clever to focus our mind with a meritorious object for a long time, if we can keep our mind calm and quiet for a long time, it is the concentration of samatha. It means we are away from defilements. Sensual desire, anger, those defilements we keep away, practicing samatha. Then our mind is very calm and quiet. With concentrated mind, we reflect on impermanence or anicca, that is vipassana. Then these four things we have to develop from beginning to end. From mundane level to supra-mundane level. Any steps on the path of liberation, we have to practice again and again these four things. That is very important. You know, even Arahantas, even enlightened persons also have discussed some doctrine. That is interesting. These four things you have to remember. That is very important. Associating a good friend. It may be a living person like me. Sometimes it may be a website. Sometimes it may be a book. Sometimes it may be a CD. Now technology is very high. You can get the result of the new technology. You are so lucky who are living in this more present society. We have a lot of opportunities, chances, how we get this knowledge. We are so lucky. And here, listening to this message, because our time is the very valuable thing. You should be clever to understand what is the real teaching. That one person says something, you may be clever to understand who explained the real message. You know, by the name of Buddha's message, many people in the world explain a lot of things. There are several traditions according to Buddhism. But we should be clever to understand what is the real doctrines that Buddha explained according to early Buddhism. That is why, if we know the Buddha's language Pali or Magadhi, that is also very important. if we can understand Pali language, in the current society, many people who are interested in learning Pali, they can read some doctrines, some textbooks in Pali language. That is very important. We can reach to the early Buddhism through the knowledge of Pali language. And however, according to knowledge, here, especially as you mentioned, when we listen to Buddha's message, especially we have to know what is the impermanence, what is the dependent origination, what is the cause of suffering, what is the Four Noble Truths, what is the Eightfold Path. These are the main doctrines. Especially in this handout, I have given you that end of this article, page 5th and 4th. I have given you all main doctrines in Buddhism, from the triple gem to enlightenment. And I have given you these doctrines several times. Really? Yeah, in previous. Yeah, all main doctrines are here. Knowing these things is very important for our knowledge. Again and again, you also should try to listen to this message. As a monk, I am also always trying to improve my knowledge, reading some doctrines, some discourses. That is very important. These 4 things are very important. We may have not only 1 or 2 things. We should have 4 things. Not only listening, not only associating good friends, reflection or wise investigation, and practicing day by day, practicing samatha and vipassana. Those 4 things are very important. And knowledge. And another way we can explain knowledge and, as I mentioned before, reflection, and practice. Practice means the Eightfold Path. Eightfold Path. For samatha vipassana. And here, suffering. Suffering, sometimes some educators in Buddhism, they explain suffering using the word of unsatisfactoriness. In Western society, according to American English, I think they have not given this word in their dictionaries. In British dictionaries, we can see this word, unsatisfactoriness. Here, Mr. David, you know another word for the suffering? What are the synonyms of suffering?
Besides unsatisfactoriness?
Yeah, unsatisfactoriness.
I'm trying to find the...
Yeah, when I write unsatisfactoriness, but it says that it is a wrong word in your dictionaries. But however, it is a permanent word. Now many scholars in Buddhism, they explain, they have taken this word. You can use.
Yeah, I just used it today.
Today, yeah.
In my class, teach English.
Okay. It's great sound. It sounds great. And however, sometimes when we say suffering, some people don't like it.
May I ask a quick question? In Pali, dukkha, does it mean something a little different than suffering? Or does it mean a little something
Actually, there are very complex words in Pali. One of them is dukkha. Dukkha, sankhara, papancha, dhamma. Those are the very complex words. We can give another words in another language. We have to use several words when we are going to explain that words. One of them is dukkha. Dukkha. Dukkha means not only pain, not only bad feelings. That, for example, if we can't keep something permanently, we are unsatisfied. For example, when we look at something, when we associate some person who has a good figure, a good complexion, we have so desire, we are glad to associate them. But after several days, after several months, what happens to our mind?
Goes away.
Yeah, goes away. We are unsatisfied. Yeah, that is the nature of the dukkha, one of the qualities of the dukkha. Not only bad feelings, we can keep something for a long time as the same experience. When you get a new vehicle, sometimes at the very beginning days, sometimes you wake up at night and go to the vehicle to see it. But after several days, it is so common, we want to go to another vehicle. That is the nature of dukkha or unsatisfactoriness. But suffering is, when we get the word of suffering, some people don't like it. But I think most Buddhist scholars use this word, that's unsatisfactoriness. Yeah.
And you said, not samsara, but another word, I'm sorry, you used like...
Sankhara.
Sankhara, yeah.
Yeah, sankhara, yeah.
What is
Sankhara also, sankhara has several meanings. One of them is mental formations. And one of them is all things in the world which are made. These physical things, our mental conditions, all things are included in this word. For example, sabbe sankhara anicca. Everything in the world are impermanent. It says all things. Sometimes it is get, pancha upadana skandha, 5 aggregates, rupa, vedana, sanya, sankhara. They are only one thing, that is mental formations, mental conditions. According to context, the meaning of sankhara is different from place to place. It is also a very complex word in Pali. And however, that is why we have knowledge. Knowledge is very important. However, here, I have given 3 words here. That one day, Buddha explained, why do we need a spiritual teacher? Why do we need a spiritual teacher's teaching? Buddha said, because of 3 reasons. Because of 3 reasons, we may have to find a spiritual teacher and practice his teachings. What are the reasons that Buddha said? First one is old age. Now when we are in the young age, but gradually we are going to old age. Now we are so happy, but when we go old age, when we go to old age, our close friends are going away. Somebody died. Somebody get angry with us. Our physical body also going to weaknesses. Then we are unsatisfied. That is the one of the reasons that we have to practice. We have to find a spiritual teacher and we have to practice his message. Now we trust in our body. We fully trust in our physical body. That is why when body is changing, when body changes, we suffer, we worry. When we associate somebody, we fully trust in his or her body, complexion. When that figure changes, our mind is unsatisfied. Then Buddhism advises us, we practice our mind, then our body is going to old age. Now in the world, the persons, when they growing up, when they go into old age, what happens to their happiness? Their happiness gradually decreases. But according to Buddha's message, if we can practice Buddha's message, we can increase our happiness when our body is going to worst. That is the difference. Buddha's message and others' teachings in the world. That is why we have to find a spiritual teacher and we have to practice his doctrines. That is the first reason that Buddha said to find a spiritual teacher. What is the second thing? Death. We are subject to die. Day by day, we are reaching to die. We are reaching to cemetery. Day by day, whether we like or not, whether we know or not. That is the reason. Our mind is like this because of our mind. Now, our organs are very complex because of mind. When our mind goes away, what happens to our body? It is so heavy. Then our body is like this because of mind. You know, there are some instruments like backhoe, backhoe vehicle. Backhoe means there are some vehicles that they can catch some soil or something, they can hit something. There are some vehicles, backhoe, I don't know what is the thing, that there are some vehicles, they have like this, they can catch something, or like that. Cranes, yeah. Then when a driver is here, then they can catch something, they can put away something because of driver is here. Sometimes this handle is very small, but they can catch, they can hit heavier things. For example, our body weight is sometimes 60 kilograms, but we can hit more than 60 kilograms. What is the reason? Because of mind. Yeah. If a driver is inside, they can lift something. Our body is like that. Our body is very complex because of mind. We can jump very easily because of mind. An elephant can go fast than a human being because of his mind. He doesn't mention his weight because of mind. If our mind goes away, what happens to our body?
It dies.
Yeah, it dies. And on the other hand, it can be nothing. It can nothing. Our body is very complex or relaxed because of mind. We can jump very easily, although our body is like 60 or 70 kilograms. How about when we lift something which is with 60 or 70 kilograms? It is so heavy. But when we jump, it is very easy. What is the reason? Because of mind. When we develop our mind in the maximum level, we can go in the sky without planes. That is the nature of our mind. Then, however, death is one of the reasons that we have to find a spiritual teacher. If we can live forever, it doesn't need to find a spiritual teacher. one day we are subject to die. We have to give up all things that we earned very hard. And also our close relatives and friends also are going to death. That is one of the reasons that we have to find a spiritual teacher and we have to practice his noble qualities, noble doctrines, sublime truth. The third one is very, very important. Most people in the world, they may think that we have to practice good deeds. We have to overcome evil because of death. But according to Buddhism, death is not the big challenge in our life. What is the big challenge in our life? Rebirth. If all things end with death, we can do anything. We have nothing to practice meditation. It doesn't need to practice meditation. If all things ends with death, surprising that we have to be reborn. But don't misunderstand, we have a permanent mind. Mind also changes every moment. Then however, according to our karmic energy, karmic power, we have a rebirth. We have to go another place. When somebody is very close to die, they are so hurried to do something with as meritorious deeds. What is the reason? In their life in first, they didn't believe next birth, but when they are going to die, they have some kind of idea about next birth. That is why they are very hurried to practice some good deeds. However, we are so lucky in the young age. If we have this knowledge, we can practice our mind. We can develop our spirit every moment using these techniques. The result is not only end of the life or hereafter. When we get the results, this moment. That is the interesting thing. Every religion have explained their liberation, living time more after death. Most of religions in the world, they have explained their liberation after death. Interesting thing is in Buddhism that Buddhist liberation explained, we experience the liberation living in this moment. That is the important thing. Before death, when we are living in the world, if we can practice this message, as much as we have practiced this message, we can see the results. We can experience. We can live with happiness with the result of practicing this message. We can overcome suffering. As much as we can keep our mind in the present moment, practicing impermanence, using mindfulness and wisdom, we can overcome suffering. As soon as you hear something, as soon as you look at something, you can understand this experience arises this moment. Nothing comes to the present from the past. Nothing goes to the future from the present. This experience arises and ceases at the moment. If you have real awareness and mindfulness, you are clever to overcome suffering. You are free from suffering at that moment. Therefore, we may have knowledge. When we do reflection and practice, we mostly practice, practicing samatha and vipassana. Practicing samatha and vipassana, what do we practice? We practice mindfulness and wisdom. Be sure. When we practice samatha or concentration meditation, we practice mindfulness, awareness. Every moment we are living, full awareness. And also wisdom means intelligence that sees the impermanence. If you are ready to get the result from your life daily, your mindfulness and wisdom are growing up. That is the sign that you are gaining the results from this message. Day by day we can overcome suffering. Liberation is not at the end of life or hereafter. Liberation is this moment. As much as you have practiced mindfulness and wisdom, at that moment we are living free from suffering. These are the reasons that Buddha said that we have to find a spiritual teacher and his teaching. Have you any question, Mr. David? Do you have any question?
No. Sorry, I'm just very tired.
Okay, I know. You can bring some water. Okay. All things are for you.
May I ask another question? Sorry.
Sure.
You said earlier that the mind is permanent. So
mind is impermanent.
It is impermanent. Okay, I thought you said it was permanent because that's why we take rebirth, because it still persists.
Yeah, that is the interesting thing is Buddhism. We have a rebirth. Our rebirth depends on our activities in this life and previous lives. Our mind, Buddhism doesn't say that our mind goes from here to next birth. Mind also impermanent. Mind also is impermanent. Every moment it changes. However, it influences to our this birth and next birth. For example, when I do this thing, my hand doesn't go there, but I pull it. I did some energy, and our mind also like that. When you look at a river or waterfall, when you look at a waterfall, once you go to the waterfall, again you want to see the same waterfall, you go there. But first thing is goes away again and again. Every moment it changes. But when we look at there, we can see the same thing. River also like that. You can see the same river twice. When you look at river, this water is here. When you look at it again, then that water goes away. Every moment it goes from place to place. But on the other hand, when we think about our mind has some kind of energy or power. It influences our life. But the interesting thing is, it is impermanent. Every thought arises and it influences next thought. And for example, when you keep something to the water, there are some waves in the water. Because of that influence, we can see some waves there. But nothing goes from here to there. Your thing that you kept there only here. But it gives some kind of energy. That is why you can see the waves. Our mind also like that. The interesting thing in Buddhism that Buddhism explains the karmic energy, explaining the impermanent mind. That is very difficult to explain. However, Buddha explained those things, explaining the dependent origination. As much as we can understand the dependent origination, we are able to understand the next birth or rebirth and with the knowledge of karmic law.
Which we take because we crave? Because we're still craving, we come back? Is that why or no?
Please explain it.
Is the reason why we come back for rebirth because we still crave and desire?
Yeah, main reason is ignorance. Yeah, you know, there are all defilements can be included into three: desire, anger, and delusion. Those three things also, both things also can be included into one: ignorance. Ignorance is this one. Ignorance or delusion is upper level. Other thing is desire and hatred or anger. If we can overcome ignorance, we are ready to overcome desire and anger. Anger, the cause of anger is desire. Buddha said very clearly, according to four noble truth, what is the cause of suffering? Desire. When somebody has some fight with another person, what is the reason?
They want something else.
Yeah, they want something else. That is why they are fighting. They are angry. If we can overcome suffering, automatically we can overcome anger. If we have real knowledge, good vision, right understanding, it means both of them are going away. As much as we have this knowledge, or right understanding, right view, correct vision, then we know we have nothing to get as big attachment. We have nothing to desire. If we know the real thing, if we know this experience arises this moment, we have no big attachment. It doesn't sound that we give up all things. We use this. But when it changes, when it is stolen by somebody, we are not hatred. We are not anger. Because of understanding. Our mind is in the high position. We use something. But because of understanding or no ignorance, we are ready to overcome suffering when our things change or our things are stolen by another person. We have no desire. If we have no desire, we have no anger. As much as we have no delusion or ignorance, we have no desire or anger. That is the thing. All defilements can be included into three. These both things also can be included: ignorance or delusion. Okay, if you are tired, I like to. However, Mr. David, you can read this article, and if you have any question, you can ask questions now or next time. Here, I have explained in this article that according to our knowledge in karmic law, always we try to do the good deeds, meritorious deeds, such as generosity, morality and meditation. Those are the meritorious deeds. You know, Buddha said, doing merit means decorating our mind. When you offer something to Buddha, somebody thinks that Buddha may have something, it is beneficial for you. Actually, the most beneficial for our mind, to our mind. And when you offer something to others, when you help others, when you worship somebody who has good qualities, your mind is very calm and quiet. More beneficial is to you. That is why Buddha said, practicing merit means decorating your mind. That is very important. On the other hand, according to the second level, that understanding of impermanence, with the understanding of dependent origination, day by day we have to clear our knowledge about impermanence, about dependent origination, about ceasing and arising. We always recite very special words, special sentence. Can you remember, Mr. Eric?
No.
Nothing comes to the present from the past. Nothing goes to the future from the present. At the moment, the experience arises and ceases. Nothing comes to the present from the past. Nothing goes to the future from the present. Every moment, this experience that we get through our six senses, every moment it arises and ceases. If you have this knowledge and full awareness, at that moment we have overcome suffering.
So, one question I have is then, does that mean that all experience is ignorance in a way?
All experience means, I mean that we get experience through our eye, through our ears, through our nose. Those are the experience.
So is that all of our experiences would fall under ignorance?
No.
Because it's all being experienced through the senses.
Even Arahantas, they also have experience. They also have experience. When they look at somebody they can understand. They have some combination. They have some relationship. Even an Arahant, he can go to visit his or her parents. After he enlightened, he can participate in his mom's funeral. It doesn't matter. When he goes to his mom's funeral, his other siblings, sisters and brothers are crying. Does he cry? Arahantas cry?
No.
Why not?
Because there's not the same kind of attachment. But
why does he have attachment?
Why
other siblings are crying?
Because they're attached to the memory of something that they're holding on to, something that was precious or that was important to them. That's no longer there. So they're not really living in the present.
Yeah, good. Yeah. When they cry, when other sisters and brothers are crying, what they say? They say, my mom fed me like this, my mom helped me. When they are crying, when they cry, they go to the previous experience. They are living in the past. But when the Arahant goes there, he also has the memory, good memory. Other persons who are crying, they have the 50% memory. But Arahant has 90%, no, 100% memory. But he can't cry. And he is not able to cry. Because as soon as he remembers that experience, he knows very well, now I don't go to the real situation. I read my own mind in the present moment. He can participate his mom's funeral without suffering because of no ignorance. He has no big attachment because of he has no ignorance or delusion. He has experience. Experience is not bad. The bad thing is when we experience something, if we go to the past or future without living in the present moment, that is the fault. That is the cause of suffering. That is the reason of unsatisfactoriness. Therefore, Buddhism, one day a person who is another religion, he came to visit Buddha and he said to Buddha that my teacher, the way that my teacher explained how to overcome suffering, don't see something, don't hear something, close your eyes, close your ears. That is the teachings that his teacher explained. Then Buddha asked, there are some persons in the world who are deaf, who are blind. Are they ascetic persons? Are they enlightened? If this teaching is clear or correct, those persons who are blind and deaf should be an enlightened person. Getting experience is not bad. The bad thing is when we get some experience, if our mind goes past or future, losing the present moment, that is the fault. That is the cause of suffering. That concept that we should overcome, that should be corrected by us, listening this message. It is clear that I don't know you get the real answer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Here I explain the 5 things which are the Indriya Dharma. Indriya means Saddha, Viriya, Sati, Samadhi, Panya. Those are the qualities also that we have to practice. Especially when we on the path of Eightfold Path, automatically these 5 things also increase. Saddha means confidence or faith in Buddha's enlightenment. Virya means energy to practice good and get rid of evil. Sati means mindfulness or awareness. Tranquility, samatha means tranquility or concentration. Panya means wisdom, the knowledge of impermanence. These 5 things should be increased, developed day by day using samatha and vipassana. And also there are another things for mindfulness. Kayanupassana, the contemplation of body. Vedanupassana, the contemplation of feelings. Chittanupassana, the contemplation of mind. Dhammanupassana, the contemplation of mental formations. These are the very important things. Page 4 and 6, I have given you all main doctrines in Buddhism. You can read them. Day by day, you have to clear your knowledge. You have to develop your knowledge about these topics. As much as your knowledge is growing up, it means you are going to forward on the path of liberation. That is very important. Okay. Today we discuss something, actually some days we discuss some doctrines in this class more than 1 hour, 2 hours sometimes. Yeah, gradually we can increase that time. And however, in one way we practice meditation, on the other hand we develop our knowledge discussing this message. Both of them are very important for our path. Okay, Mr. Eric, Mr. David, I appreciate your coming. And now the time to transfer the merits. Every day after we practice this message, we transfer this merits to our beloved relatives who departed. That is our ancient tradition in Buddhist tradition. We believe that when we discuss these qualities, these doctrines, our mind has no defilements. Our mind is very pure and calm. It means we are generating good energy, good power, spirit. It means we accumulate merits. That merit can help to others, especially our beloved relatives who departed. That is why with kind mind, attitude, we transfer these merits to our beloved relatives who departed. Now the time to transfer these merits to our beloved relatives departed relatives, recite in the stanza. Idam me ñātīnam hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Idam me ñātīnam hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. Idam me ñātīnam hotu sukhitā hontu ñātayo. By the power of all these merits, may divine persons also receive these merits. Receiving these merits, may they keep their eye on you too. May they protect you with that intention. Let's transfer these merits to divine guardian deities and angels too. Ettavata ca amhehi sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata ca amhehi sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Ettavata ca amhehi sambhatam punya sampadam sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. By the power of all these merits, may you live long, may you be well, happy and peaceful, may your all good efforts succeed, may the Triple Gem bless you. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dukkham pantā ca niddukkha, bhayam pantā ca nibbhaya. Sokam pantā ca nissokā, hantu sabbe pipānino. May all living beings be well, happy and peaceful. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu.